Hi, I'm Annie. Nice to meet you. Thank you for watching this video. So I hope to have this series of video to support international students to find the first job or second job. I've been there yet. I know it's very difficult for international student at this point to find the first job. The visa issue, there are many barriers compared to people who are born in the United States. So I just hope to um, talk about some workplace principles and some job interview techniques to help you if you're an international student to find a job in the US. So yeah, let's get started. I'm gonna share my screen. And I'm a Christian. This is a very important part for me. And I understand it's not just difficult, but it's also emotionally challenging in the job hunting period of time. So I'm gonna share a story from Bible that's really helpful for me. I hope it's helpful for you as well to handle the emotional challenge because what's important in job searching is that we need to keep searching for it. We need to keep going forward. That's important. We cannot be emotional for a long time. It's fine to have breakdown. I had that moment too, but I hope you have some strength within you to help you during those period of time. So I want to share David's story in Bible. So David is an Israel king. He was very powerful and influential at that time and in Israel history. And but back then, when he fought with Goliath, he was nobody. He was a shepherd, and Goliath was very famous. He was a giant, and everybody was afraid of him. But David volunteered himself to um, kill Goliath with stones, actually, to save a lot of Israel. So the lesson I learned from that is that we need to be confident in God and our unique skills. So David was a shepherd, so he was really good at throwing stones, and he just used that skill. So I think God gave us different talents. So we are good at different things. So we don't need to, when thinking about searching for a job, we don't need to go to the most popular track. We can think about what we can contribute to the community around us, to US market, really having a mindset that we can use our talent to serve the society. If you can think about a unique skill, I think it's gonna be useful um, if not now, but in the future. So let's try to see our topic today. It's using the START method, focus on specific and relevant examples, be honest but positive in job interviews. So using the START method, I think is pretty straightforward here, and you can search online to get detailed explanation on that. But is to have a situation, a context, and a task, like what problem you're solving, and the action, what actions you took, and the result. So these STAR method is very helpful for answering behavioral questions. Let's focus on, so I will just skip those detailed explanations here, and I'll give you an example of practicing on behavioral questions. And I use ChatGPT. And by the way, I also use ChatGPT when writing this document. I will share the document with you so you can scan through it. At your own time. But I hope to demo how to use ChatGPT to practice answering behavioral questions. So I have ChatGPT open here. You can choose any chatbot. The reason I chose ChatGPT is because it's voice mode. As long as the software you chose has a voice mode, I think that's very helpful for the job interview because the questions will not be given to you by text, but it's a voice and you answer it within your own voice. I think it's important to have the voice mode. And let me just start with it, and you can hear how I promote it and how ChatGPT responds to me. But before that, I hope to share you a bit info on the job I'm looking for applying, just to give you some context. So I hope to apply for Mandarin teacher in elementary, and this is the job description I copied from the website. And the first question I hope to practice together with you is tell me about a time when you faced a challenging situation at work. How did you handle it? And this is the purpose of why the employer want to ask this question. I think it's important to know it is to assess your problem solving and stress management skills. And when having this question in the job preparation, in the interview preparation, process, I think it's important that you write down your story. So I have top eight behavioral question practice. I think is enough for preparing the behavioral question part. And you don't need to have five stories. You don't need to have eight stories to cover the eight questions. I think five stories will be enough. But the reason I have the job description there is because I hope you to read the job description of the position you hope to apply before thinking about the stories. If there are multiple roles you hope to apply, you can have all of them written in the same doc. The job description of all of them, and just to read them and get familiar with them. Because when you think about a story, you may want to have a story that can reflect the qualities job description asks you to have. So, for example, I hope to apply for the teaching position, and there are many, many requirements related to teaching. But my previous job it's about project management. I was the senior project manager and director of a regional office. So it's important that because there are many challenges in my previous work, it's important for me to find a story that match my job description. So for here, I need to find something related to teaching. So my previous organization was a professional development provider for teachers. So I have opportunities to train teachers. So it's not teaching students, but it's teaching adults, teaching teachers. So I will find those stories in answering those behavioral questions. And the next step is to write it down. I think the best length of each story is about 250 words. It's because for native English speakers, the words they can say in 1 minute is around 120 to 150. And for international students, we are not native speakers who might be more fluent than me. But I think, like for me, the best I can do is 120 words in a minute, even if I practice it again and again. So that's why I think 250 is the maximum of the length because we don't want to go over than 2 minutes. A job interview is usually like 30 minutes to 1 hour, and we don't want to have one question taking too much time. So that's why we hope to control it under 2 minutes. Okay, so I wrote my stories, and there are probably something um I want to make it shorter a bit. So when I use word count, it says 281. So I may hope to cut something here. Um, Yeah, like everybody began to talk because I have something like they had a lot to say, so it is the same meaning. So I will delete it. So it's just a demo to show you, like after I wrote my story, how can I delete some content, and also like here is the context of how this challenge happened. I think I can also delete and make it shorter. So I will not do it now, like all over the world from Asia, Africa, Europe, and I can just delete it because I said all over the world. So yeah, it's just an example of how can you make it shorter. I know there are some details that we really hope to include. You might not have a work experience before, but there are some interesting details in your project experience or internship experience you might want to keep. But you just need to tr have a balance at this point. So now let's go to ChatGPT and practice with it. I think it's very important to practice. Um, sorry, need to adjust my video a bit. Okay, cool. So I think practice is the key to success. You want to, after you write everything down, you may want to practice 10 or 20 times until it became really natural for you to say in front of a group of people. It's always a little bit nervous when you're facing a group of your interviewers. So if you can just make it really familiar, it would take less cognitive load. So even if you're nervous and you thought a lot of like people's facial expressions, anything else, you can still deliver the message. Cool. So I'm gonna chat with ChatGPT. Hi, ChatGPT. So we are in a job interview situation. I hope to do a simulation with you. Could you please help me in this way? I will throw the question to you. Can you just ask me the exact question? And after I answer it, would you please give me some feedback and give me a polished version of my answer? Do you understand it?
Yes, I understand. You will give me the interview question and I will repeat it exactly. After you answer, I'll provide feedback and a polished version of your response. Go ahead with the question.
The question is, tell me about a time when you faced a challenging situation at work. How did you handle it?
Tell me about a time when you faced a challenging situation at work. How did you handle it?
I got a message from a chief last year asking me to provide an in-person seminar to an education delegation led by the Department of State. It's very high stake because those participants are experts from all over the world, and I have limited time to prepare for it. The first thing I did was to call a liaison of department to call the liaison of Department of States to get clear on what the delegation might be interested about. I learned that they're interested in education training in the US, but I think it's a broad topic, and we might not be able to cover many training topics like digital literacy, social emotional learning, and project-based learning in an hour. So I try to ask more questions and narrow it down. Then the liaison let me know that a lot of the delegates are interested in AI in education specifically. That's great because I was leading an AI PD project with 2,500 educators. We've seen successful classroom experience. So I quickly put together the lesson plan and designed two hands-on activities. I started the presentation by asking the expert the question, what excites you the most in education these days? They had a lot to say, and the ideas resonated with each other, and the classroom became very alive. I tried to catch the common theme and address those with how AI could be helpful moving forward while following the plan ahead. It turned out to be very successful, and I got more than 90% satisfaction rate, and many experts came to me and let me know the seminar was very helpful for them.
Feedback. Your response effectively follows the STAR format and highlights your ability to handle high pressure situations, adapt quickly, and engage an audience. Strengths. Clear problem solving approach. You identified the challenge and took proactive steps to address it. Strategic thinking. You refined the broad topic into a focused discussion on AI in education. Strong communication skills. You engage the audience with an interactive question. Quantifiable impact. Mentioning a 90% satisfaction rate strengthens your answer with measurable success. Areas for improvement. Grammar and clarity. A few minor errors can be polished for smoother delivery. Concise phrasing. Some sentences can be tightened to enhance fluency. Stronger conclusion. A final takeaway about what you learned or how this experience strengthened your skills would add impact. Polished version. Last year, a chief reached out to me with an urgent request to deliver an in person seminar for an education delegation led by the Department of State. Since he was unavailable that day, he entrusted me with the responsibility. It was a high stakes situation, as the participants were experts from around the world, and I had very little time to prepare. The first thing I did was contact the liaison at the Department of State to understand the delegation's specific interests. Initially, I learned they were interested in education training in the US, but since that was a broad topic, including areas like digital literacy, social emotional learning, and project based learning, I asked follow up questions to narrow it down. Eventually, I discovered that many delegates were particularly interested in AI in education. This was a great fit because I was leading an AI professional development project with 2,500 educators. Drawing from successful classroom experiences, I quickly developed a lesson plan and designed two hands on activities. To make the seminar engaging, I began by asking, what excites you most about education today? This sparked a lively discussion, and as participants shared ideas, I identified common themes and connected them to how AI could support their work, all while staying aligned with my planned content. The seminar was a great success. Over 90% of participants reported high satisfaction, and several experts personally shared how valuable the session was for them. This experience reinforced my ability to adapt under pressure, engage a diverse audience, and deliver meaningful insights in a short time frame. Would you like to practice delivering this version? Or do you want any tweaks to better reflect your style?
Thank you so much, ChatGPT. I think we are done at this moment. I will practice and talk to you again. Cool. So you can see, um, so after this voice mode, if you just go back, you can see the exact text ChatGPT write for you. And I think it's very helpful to have ChatGPT giving feedback and then a polished version. Because in the feedback, you can see like it really gave me a lot of positive feedback saying what's my strength and recognize that I use the smart principles like I said where is the challenge. So it just gave me a lot of encouragement. I think that's important when we are trying to improve our job searching skills. We need the encouragement. And also, in the polished version, I think it's very helpful that it just follow its feedback, right? It let me know I have some grammar to improve, and I can say some sentence concisely. I think that's very helpful for me to recognize there's something I can improve in my English, speaking, writing. And the polished version, I think there are many benefits of listening to it. First, it correct my pronunciation. Have you heard the word liaison? I say liaison or something like that in the first place. That's how I pronounce it, but it corrected me and emphasized the pronunciation. I think that's great. And also, it helped me to make it more logical. For example, like here, it changed my sentence. Um, I don't know, I don't remember how did I frame it at the beginning, but it says, but since that was a broad topic, including areas like digital literacy, social emotional learning, and project-based learning. So I think it's a better way than the way I previously framed this sentence. And also it gave me a sentence to summarize because you can tell that I'm not perfect. I try to follow the SMART rule, but in the outcome part, I gave a outcome of these events, but I didn't summarize what I've learned and the quality that I have that is reflected in this experience. So it just helped me write this sentence. This experience reinforced my ability to adapt under pressure, engage a diverse audience, and deliver meaningful insights in a short time frame. So I think it's just very useful, and I believe it corrects a lot of my grammar mistake as well. And also, I think it just linked all the paragraphs better. It has some connection word I probably didn't use in my original text, and I just feel overall it sounds smoother than the version I previously had. So yeah, so that's how we use ChatGPT to help with the behavioral question. So let's come back because so you just saw like after you write the draft for the first time, what do? You just read it aloud in front of ChatGPT and ask it to give you the feedback and polishment. But after you got the polishment, you will need to practice again and again. The best is to recite it. I know it sounds a lot of work, but I still feel the best way is to recite it. And because if you can recite it, it's just easier. If you forget one or two words, it's totally fine. You remember the structure, you remember the sentence, and you can just say it very fluently in front of the interviewer. The language is not very important if your job is not an English teacher. So I hope you to feel confident applying any position you're qualified to. But I think English is still like you need to have the basic fluency because the interview time is limited. It's just 30 or 1 hour, 30 minute or 1 hour. And you want to deliver as much information as possible. So when they're thinking of you, they have so many evidence that you say. So I think having fluency when you face this behavioral questions is important. So I encourage you to recite it. Um, um, yeah, so that's what you do after getting the polished version from ChatGPT. And another thing I hope you to do is to give a name of your story. So it needs to be very concise. It's one or two words. The reason I asked you to do that is because when you're in a stressful situation, I know some of my friends told me like their brain just went blank, especially if they don't have a lot of interview experience before. So it's likely to happen. That's normal. But I hope you, so if you have a one or two words summary of this story, if you think about seminar, and then immediately you know you have a story there. You might not remember all the details at once, but you at least know the main idea. It's like you give, like for me, I give a seminar to a delegation led by Department of State. So that's important. That's why we want to make it concise because it's just helpful for the memory. And another thing you hope to do is to do the JD match. The reason we want to do it is because um, the ultimate goal is to have every item written in the job description covered by the five story. So we hope to know what item was covered by these story. So you can just go through it from the beginning to the end. And if you think this is included, you just highlight it. Yes. And yeah, like establishing clear objective for lessons. Yes, because I try to understand what they're interested in most and have it as my objective. So I have it highlighted. And I also provide an inviting, exciting, and innovative learning environment. And the evidence for that is like the classroom discussion was very hot. People wanted to be engaged. So that's a rule. That's another rule. So I just want to highlight it first and then I talk about the other rule. So in the story, you want to show your skills rather than telling the interviewer. I know, especially when your lack of experience, work experience, or internship experience, it's likely you use some descriptive saying like, I'm good at teaching. I love kid. I'm passionate about teaching. I'm good at classroom environment. Um, it's okay to have something in your story, but what's really important is the evidence. So you want to have a lot of fact that support your statement that I'm good at teaching, right? So just had a lot of evidence here, like how did I choose the topic? How did I ask question? How did I lead the classroom discussion and address the AI topic to the things that my participants are interested about. So you want to really show your skill, not tell your skill. Okay. So after you highlighted all the job description item that covered by this story, you just list all of them here. So you know what JD points that the story match. And I just said you will need five stories. And the best case is that after you wrote the five stories, you cover all the points here. So maybe before developing the next story, you just come here and read what are the job description items left here that is not covered by the previous stories. Okay, so that's the example of practicing this first question, and there are more in this doc. I really hope you could enjoy this process and while you're developing your stories, just like what we shared in the beginning. I hope you could see your unique strength. Everybody has their unique strength. I hope you enjoy using your unique strengths in the stories and in the future to contribute to the community, to the society with it. Thank you so much. I'm Annie, and my produce more videos on helping international students to find a job. If you have any resources, if you have any comment, please comment below and give me a thumb up because I'm pretty new to the video platform and everything. I really hope to have your encouragement. Thank you so much. Bye.